have some good news and we have some bad news. And I know that you typically start with the bad news, but the bad news is going to take a little bit to explain, so we'll start with the good news. Our names are Mike and Heather. We're traveling the US in our van Appa on a mission to visit all 50 states. Subscribe and join us as we try to figure out this whole van life thing. As always, thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to Indiana, specifically Santa Claus, Indiana. So our plan for Indiana was originally to shoot all the way up to the top, but while we were in the Louisville Slugger Museum yesterday, I found this pamphlet in that pamphlet area that all tourist attractions have. But it said Lake Rudolph Campground in Santa Claus, Indiana.
If you've been following along, we stopped in Santa Claus, Georgia on our Route 1 road trip down the east coast of the country. We stopped in at the North Pole in Alaska, and now we've come to another fantastic holiday Christmas spot in Indiana. And we are currently sitting out front of their big Santa Claus Christmas shop.
We're gonna go check that out. Santa must have a pretty lucrative toy business, but having this many vacation homes scattered all around the world.
The Santa Claus Christmas Store here in Santa Claus, Indiana was a ton of fun. There were some really beautiful items in there and just a lot of cool Christmas vibes going on. We ended up actually getting ourselves an ornament to sort of commemorate our time here, but we're not done yet. We still have a few more stores to check out. The Santa Claus Museum. We're just getting started.
Also, I picked up more pamphlet things, and not that we're going to be here for any of that, but just to have in the future for when we inevitably come back. I feel like the more and more we're traveling, the more that I thought we'd be checking things off of our bucket list, but we just keep adding them because there is a Holiday World amusement park that we saw coming in, and I guess that it's all themed to different holidays. So there's Halloween part of the park, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and they even have a drone light show at night. So unfortunately, it's closed right now, which is a bit ironic because it's the holiday season. But during the summer, it is open, and we would absolutely love to come back to check that out. Until then, more shopping.
Yep.
Which is really the Christmas spirit, right? The next shop that we're going to is Santa's Toys, which is literally, I can see it. It's in the same plaza.
So we have left the toy store, and in a surprising twist, I was not the one to buy something.
Okay, that toy store was way too fun. I got one of those pens that I had growing up, you know, when you get to like change the colors and then you try to push them all down at once to see if you can do it. But I haven't seen these in years, so like I had to get them, and I'm way more excited than I should be over this, but
How many different colors are in there?
well, lots, Mike. I don't know why you don't think this is cool. This is like the coolest thing ever. Think of all of the organization I could do in my planner now.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So you can push down the color you want and then switch
I don't
to
know
the
how
next
you've never
one.
seen one of these before.
I haven't seen one like this where it's like rotating.
Needless to say, I'm super excited about my new pen, but there's lots of other cool toys in there, from like old vintage ones to new ones, and then they even had little setups where you could go up and play if you were a child. I refrained from doing so, but they did look really fun. Next up, the Santa Claus Museum.
All right.
Where hopefully they don't have a gift shop, because I feel like we are spending quite a bit of money today.
Good, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
Made it to the part of the museum where we're in Santa's office. That's where he sits.
Christopher C. Kringle, toy maker. We left the Santa Claus Museum, which was absolutely fantastic. You learned a little bit more about the history of Santa Claus, Indiana, how the town got its name, which was kind of a magical story. It was originally Santa Fe, Indiana, but when the town got big enough to have a post office, they found out that there was already a Santa Fe, Indiana, so they were trying to come up with a new name, and during that process, the doors of the assembly area blew open and they heard jingling bells, and someone said, "It's Santa Claus," and the name stuck. So even the sort of story behind the name has a little bit of magic to it. The museum was just really great to walk through. The staff there was fantastic. But we've made our way over to the post office, which is equally impressive because it is part of a nonprofit volunteer-run organization.
They have lots of elves that help Santa in writing the letters back to all the children who send their letters here from all around the world. So it's a really amazing story, and all of the magic takes place here.
Over 35,000 letters come in to Santa Claus, Indiana, and they are responded to by volunteer elves. So anything you get over at the gift shop goes towards the nonprofit, and they said it costs about $20,000 in postage to respond to all of those letters. So definitely make sure you donate, because it's just such a cool cause and such an amazing amount of work that these people do. Hats off to the magic they help create around the holidays. We've left the post office and are making our way up the little bit of hill over to this fantastic Santa Claus statue. So this Santa Claus statue, which was created in 1935, stands over 22 feet tall and weighs over 40 tons. So it is a massive work of art.
And it's dedicated to the children of the world, which is in true Santa Claus spirit. So it's perfect for this area. But it is feeling a little bit more like the North Pole because it is cold out here. So we're gonna retreat back to our warm van. So the museum did have a gift shop, and because it all went to a good cause, I couldn't resist. I got some postcards, but wanna know what I can do now? Write them out to my friends and family with really cool pen and ink. See, this is already coming in handy, Mike. I don't know why you're making fun of it. What color are you gonna use? It's all different
Dibs
ones.
on red.
We made our way to the official post office here in Santa Claus, Indiana, and dropped off our postcards to be sent home.
The post office staff was telling us that every year from December 1st to 24th, they have a special stamp that they apply to all of the post that leaves here, all of the Santa letters that are written, and it's drawn by a high school student, and so it's just really cool.
But now we are saying goodbye to Santa for at least another month and a half, because Christmas is right around the corner for us here right now, and we are going to be heading up Indiana, so more and more north and more close to our home, because we are going to be home for the holidays. Bye, Santa Claus!
Home for the holidays, feels good to be here with you. Home for the holidays, the fire's warm, we got nothing to do. And I know that we drive each other crazy sometimes, so right now I'm so grateful that we're here. Home for the holidays, full of that holiday cheer.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks, you too.
We managed to get an oil change, which is great because we've been needing that for a while, and really cool. You could have gotten a free hot dog today.
We definitely try and do our best to maintain the oil changes, any of the other fluids and stuff like that, making sure that we are keeping the tires good. We switched on our winter tires for this road trip. Appa, for as much as we stress out about it, has taken care of us, so we want to make sure we take care of it. We have pulled into an AutoZone right now because as we were driving, we noticed that the exhaust/blower part of our air conditioning heating system is not working. We're still getting hot and cold air out, so if you turn the dial all the way to the end, you're still feeling some of the hot air, the cold air coming out of the vents, but it's not blowing as you turn the dial higher and higher on the settings. So we are pulled into AutoZone to see if it's a fuse issue. We've had that be the problem in the past with things like the Windows or different systems. So we're going to check the fuse, see if that's what's causing the problem. And if not, it'll probably be something else, and hopefully we'll be able to figure it out. But it'll just be a nice thing to have the heat work the way it should.
In the owner's manual, there is a whole section of fuses, and one of them is the heater blower motor. So hopefully the fuse 30A helps solve this problem. So let's go get a 30A fuse.
Uh, 30A.
The last one. I think ours are many, but like we'll get both just in case. Might need a pair of pliers. We're trying to grab a pair of pliers to be able to get the fuse out a little bit easier. Did you get it? Yay!
Okay. So as you can see, we got the heat on, Right now we're doing the defroster. Still no luck. All right, so not the fuse, it's something else. But when you put your hand up, you can feel air moving.
See how it's 0, goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing's happening.
What about?
Switching out the fuse for the heater blower didn't fix the problem. Let's see if it comes back on. It went off a little bit earlier today, but then it came back on and now it's off again. So fingers crossed it comes back on enough to be able to get us through these last 2 states before we go home, because we are on a homeward trajectory right now. We only have like a few more days on the road before we go home for the holiday season.
Worst case scenario, we can still get heat out of the vents. It just is not coming out with any kind of speed. It's almost just on a idle.
Everybody said the first thing to do is check the fuse. We did. Unfortunately, that didn't work, but then it could be a bad relay, a resistor, or control module issue. So can't really complain because our van
has held up.
We haven't had any real issues, knock on wood, with our van through, what is that, 47 states?
Yeah, just minor issues, things like this where it really wouldn't even be that big of an issue if we weren't in close to freezing temperatures.
Yeah.
And even as it is now, overnight, we don't leave the car running or anything like that. We have the cold rated sleeping bag, so it's really not something that changes.
Blanket.
Yeah.
But we usually crank the heat before we go to bed, and then in the morning we'll turn on the car and crank it once again, which probably isn't helping.
Yeah.
As we get ready, so that way we're not freezing. But as far as sleeping goes,
it's fine.
Yeah.
We're still able to live out of the van with any issues. It's more just having access to the defroster and keeping that kind of on a higher
so
setting.
That'll be an issue if we get more snow.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's something we'll look into, and if we can find a spot to get it checked out quickly, we would do that. Otherwise, we're only a few days away, probably around a week at most away from getting back to our home in New York. So it's not a life or death situation by any means. We're still more than able to live out of the van.
Definitely annoying though.
Yeah, something that we wish wasn't the case, but
I guess we'll have to tough it out like true Buffalonians.
Yeah, dealing with the cold.
Now, if the heat goes completely, then we'll have to get it fixed immediately. But in the meantime, while we still do have heat trickling in, it's not being blown through the vent system. Yeah, so if the heat goes, it'll be a bigger problem. But for now, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Onward to our rest stop for the evening.
Just a little bit down the road from the AutoZone is a Walmart, so we are going to camp out here for the night. We both ran in to use the restroom real quick, and now we are back in the van and ready to set it into bed mode.
This is what life's about, love. We just can't live without love. I know without a doubt, love, we're gonna figure it out.
Not quite the ending to the day that we were expecting, but we made it to where we were going with no issues. We're on our way home as it is, so it won't have to last for more than a couple of days working this way. It'll probably just mean we don't get to drive through the night or anything like that, so.
Yeah, because with the way that the windows fog up, there's no way to clear it because we can't turn on the blower. So that kind of made visibility difficult, which is why we kind of pulled off earlier than we thought we were going to today. And with it getting dark at like 4:30, that significantly cuts our day and a half worth of exploring. So we are probably going to look up a place to hopefully get it fixed tomorrow morning before we continue our travels through Indiana. But tonight we're probably going to get a little bit of work done, watch some TV, and enjoy boondocking as best you can in a Walmart parking lot.
Yes, when it is about 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So.
Yeah. Thankfully, we have power back from
the bit of sun that we've gotten the last couple days.
Yes, solar power that is. And our Jackery is charged, so we can plug in our heated blanket. So we should be nice and warm tonight, but we definitely will look into getting our heater fixed tomorrow.
So we'll probably leave you here. It's going to be an uneventful evening of trying to stay warm and just enjoying.
Or maybe that will be eventful.
Yeah, it could be. We'll check back in if there's any complications, but we will.
Knock on wood, there won't be.
Yeah, we'll see you in the morning as we move further north and try and figure out what we're going to do with the heating situation. But regardless, we are making our way to the top of this state where we have some other interesting things to see and do. So we'll check in with you in the morning.
Grabbing the blanket. Good morning. We have some good news and we have some bad news. And I know that you typically start with the bad news, but the bad news is going to take a little bit to explain, so we'll start with the good news. Our heat is working again as far as the blower goes this morning. It just magically started working when we turned on the car, which was really nice to be able to get ready in some warmth. So we have no idea what the actual issue is, and we'll still get it fixed. But hopefully this allows us to have enough heat to make it home to be able to get fixed properly in a garage by us. The bad news is that we had some more plans to go to national parks both here in Indiana and Michigan, but the national park system has recently changed their filming policy within the parks themselves. So there's kind of a history there. Essentially in 2021, a couple YouTubers and documentary people who went into the parks to make content got sued by the national park system because it was against their filming policy. They took that to court and won on First Amendment rights that they would be allowed to film in the national parks again. But the National Park System recently took them back to court and got it revoked, and now it is illegal to film in the National Park System unless you apply for a permit. But we don't really know how the rules work. We tried looking it up and it just seems really complicated at this moment while they're trying to work out all the legalities behind everything. We tried calling the number and the mailbox is full and they didn't answer. So I think we're going to avoid national parks for the moment until we can figure out how to film in there legally, because we don't want to do anything that gets ourselves into the trouble.
When the lawsuit first occurred, there was sort of a pause put on the limitations to filming. So for the past year, Heather and I, through our journeys in the national park, have been the beneficiaries of that sort of pause. So we were able to go into the national park as commercial filmmakers because we put our videos on YouTube and we make a little bit of money off of that. So therefore we fall under the commercial filmmakers classification. So we were able to go into the park, record videos, and put them on YouTube within all of the boundaries of the rules during that sort of pause. Unfortunately, through the appeals process, the courts overturned that ruling, and on October 28th of 2022, it reverted to the old rules where you needed a permit to be able to go into the parks and do commercial filming. So in our looking into it, you have to, at minimum, apply for a permit 10 days in advance. And some of them, the smaller parks, it is a free permit. But the only issue with that is with the kind of variability of being in a van and not necessarily knowing exactly where we're going to be at all times, it becomes kind of hard to plan out 10 days in advance to know we'll be there that specific day that the paperwork is filed for. So it unfortunately complicates things and makes it a little bit difficult, especially now because we are within 10 days of being at any of the parks that we would go to. Therefore, we wouldn't be able to film and share our experiences with all of you. So a long-winded response to say it kind of complicates our going to the national parks at this point in time. I do have to say we are so happy that we were able to get as many of them done during that pause as we did. But moving forward, it makes things a little bit difficult in planning what we are going to do in the rest of Indiana and Michigan.
And we're not saying all of this to complain, because being able to visit the national parks in any capacity is a lot of fun, and even if we weren't filming it, we would have equally enjoyed our time in all of the national parks. It's just more to explain why we're not going to them at this moment. Basically, we just want to make sure that we're doing everything the right way, and it's going to take some time to learn how to do that. We still do have something really fun here planned today to go do in Indiana, and it is all the way at the top of the state, so we do have a bit of a drive today, but we are going to the RV Hall of Fame.
So after a couple hours of driving today, we have made it to the part of Indiana that has the RV Hall of Fame, and we are getting ready to go inside. I'm not.
Our jackets because it's freezing out.
Yeah, it's about like 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside. There's snow on the ground.
I thought it was colder.
It's probably colder, but I know it's at least that cold. There's snow on the ground. We've been fortunate that we haven't had to deal with any of it today. The roads have been nice and clear here.
And that our heater is working again.
Yes, the heater has started working again, so that was really nice. But we are getting ready to go in. I don't know that we have any real idea of what to expect other than hopefully we'll see some really cool RVs. I'm excited to learn more about the history of RVing in America and see some of those classic models that people used to travel the country in.
We see a lot of RVs in the parking lot, so...
Snow covered, actually.
Yeah.
Some of them. So
but RVs of like people who are coming to visit, so...
Yeah,
there's more RVs here than there are cars for people to come and visit, which I think is really fun.
We're gonna head in now, get our tickets, and start checking out the Hall of Fame. We started off at the RV Hall of Fame in the theater section where it talked a little bit about the history of RVs, its connection to the mobile home industry, and the connection to the community Elkhart that we're in now. And then we have set out to explore. So we walked through an area that had history on mobile homes, and now we've come to the RV side, which is what we were most interested to see. And there's some really amazing units here that you can go into and explore.
So the very first travel trailer was invented here. So way before vans and RVs like we know it today, the very first travel trailer started here and has developed from that into RVs and full-on modular homes, and you can explore both of those here at the museum.
Elkhart is actually known as the RV capital of the world, which is really incredible, and I'm so glad we learned about this place to come and visit and learn more about this community that we've become a part of. So we really are enjoying our time here and being able to explore all of these different rigs, I guess.
Yeah, one of our favorite things when we're in campgrounds or honestly just driving is spotting all the different RVs and campers and trailers and admiring them. So now we get to do so and not look creepy because you're actually allowed inside of these ones and can stare without weirding people out at the campground.
This is the oldest travel trailer in the world, and it was actually built to go along with a Model T Ford. Just this kind of classic combination of vehicle and trailer and piece of American identity of traveling and wanting to be able to stay in your home on the road.
This one would kind of creep me out because I know that we don't have that much space in our van, but this one reminds me kind of of a coffin. I mean, it's definitely neat, but I think I'd get a little bit claustrophobic.
So this was a telescoping apartment.
This one legit looks like a spaceship. Like even more than the Airstreams, this, or like a blimp.
These are so small. This one's pretty impressive though. It's actually a lot wider than I would have expected.
Hey, might pull up. Oh, is this Keep Your Daydreams?
Keep Your Daydreams.
No way.
Literally.
I think it is. Yeah, I recognize that.
It is, because that's their face.
Hey, I didn't even know this was here. I was just admiring the launching pad guy from Route 66.
I had a thought that it was because I recognized this from when we were looking up information for our own Route 66 trip. I remember Keep Your Daydream, which if you haven't seen them, they're an enormous, really great YouTube travel channel that does RVing. They actually drove this bus down Route 66.
We can actually go in to Keep Your Daydreams RV. This is too cool. I didn't even know this was here. This is so trippy right now because we have seen this like in their YouTube videos. Oh, there's their little Gemini Giant that they got. We tried getting one of those and the Gemini Giant was closed. So we got a little Buck Adams instead, but how fun.
Wow, and look at all of the upholstery on here. This is unbelievable. And they drove this down Route 66. I think they actually drove it, if I'm remembering right, drove it through downtown Chicago at the beginning. I don't know if they were able to do all of the roads that we were able to do, but I could not imagine taking this enormous vehicle down all of those Route 66 roads. So that is some awesome driving they did.
We actually found their channel when we were planning our Route 66 travels. We watched a lot of theirs before we prepared for our Route 66 trip. So yeah, this is too cool right now.
Oh, and when we were on the Alaska Highway, we also saw Keep Your Daydreams little tag in the signpost for us.
Yeah, in Watson Lake. So this is an awesome classic bus, but there are some really amazing upgrades that have been done in here. This looks really complex, but awesome.
Well, that was a really cool surprise.
We finished up exploring in the RV and Mobile Home Hall of Fame. It was a lot of fun. There were some really amazing travel trailers and RVs and buses, mobile homes, all of it. It was so cool to look at and learn a little bit more about the history. The highlight for me was seeing the Bluebird, which is
totally unexpected.
Yeah, really unexpected, and something that we feel connected to because we watched all of those videos as we were preparing for and making our way down Route 66. And so to see it in person is just a neat thing. We have made it back to the van and have moved ourselves over to the side of the building because we're not leaving just yet.
So a great thing about the RV Hall of Fame is that they allow boondocking in their parking lot. So we can stay here in the parking lot for free. We double checked with the person in charge and they said, yep, there's even some RV specific parking. We won't take up a giant spot because we are very tiny compared to those RV spots. So we are the first one that's not an RV spot next to it. But yes, we are spending the night here at the RV Hall of Fame.
I think this will be a nice spot to hang out in and sort of get ready to wind down in the evening because the sun is starting to set.
Also, I got myself Happy Camper sweatshirt to match the Happy Camper ornament that we got yesterday at the Santa Claus place. They also had Happy Camper ornaments there, but we already got one, so I refrained from buying a second one, but the sweatshirt I couldn't pass up. It's from the RV capital of the world.
So with the day drawing to a close, we're gonna start getting ready to put the van into bed mode, get ourselves organized to call it a night.
Probably make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, something like that. We really enjoyed Indiana. I think there's a few things that we're excited to come back for. With the new information about national parks, we're going to make sure the next time we're in the area, we'll have all of our ducks in a row, T's crossed, I's dotted, to make sure that we can get in there and film and share that experience with everyone. Maybe we'll go
when we come back, we can go to Holiday World because that has, I'm like super excited for that.
Yeah, I think summer might work a little bit better. The Sand Dunes National Park is on Lake Michigan. I think that we may enjoy it a little bit more in the summertime than
I think it still would have been cool
winter.
Going during the winter because there's a cool hiking paths and
True.
To see the dunes covered in snow I think would have been really novel. But yes, summertime will probably work better.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit weird because this is now the second time that we are right next to Michigan. The last time we were in Wisconsin and our plans kind of fell through, so we ended up putting Michigan on hold. This time we are in Indiana and our plans for Michigan aren't quite ready. I think there are gonna be some fantastic things that we are returning for in the new year.
Yeah, candlelit hikes.
Yep.
Winter water rafting.
Yeah, so we're going to be exploring some really amazing parts of Michigan. We are excited to do those, but not yet. So we will be making our way home for the holidays before returning to the road to knock off those last 3 states. We have Michigan, Hawaii, and North Dakota, which is going to be state 50, the last one. So we've been all over the country, but we're not done yet. There are still a few more states to cross off our list, and we are so excited to do those.
This is where we'll leave you. We'll see you in state number 48.